Welcome back, students. In our today's class, we are going to complete our story Chuck and Gek's Train Journey part 2. Okay, we have completed half of the story in our part 1 video. Today we are going to pick up from where we left. Okay, so we have seen that Chuck and Gek has started their journey through his mother, and things are getting unfolded. Gek ended up in a different compartment and he poked an army man there. That angry man took Gek to his own compartment where he went on sleeping. Now, today we'll start from here. When he, just a minute. When he woke up, the train's wheels were clicking along steadily. So, the train was stopping then. The sun shone through the forest window. The sun shone through the frosted window. The windows were frosted because the outside it was having snowfall. They were having snowfall in small episodes. Chuck was nibbling an apple, so he was rubbing an apple, playing along with an apple, while mother and the army man with the mustache were standing at the door laughing over Gek's night adventure. So the army man has come down to the mother, and now his mother and the army man is having a conversation, and they are laughing over what has happened the last night. Chuck showed Gek a pencil the army man had given him. It had a tip made of yellow cartridge, but Gek was neither jealous nor greedy. So Gek was not interested in that pencil. He was neither jealous nor greedy. He was a dreamy scatterbrain. So he was absent-minded. Scatterbrain means someone who is absent-minded. Not only he had walked into the wrong compartment at night, but also he could not remember where he had put his trousers. Now Gek can't remember where his trousers are. After washing and saying good morning, mother, Gek pressed his face to the cold window pane to have a look at the places they were passing. So what Gek was doing, he has pressed his face against the window pane to see if he could see anything outside the places that they were passing and what the people who lived there did. Chuck trotted from the door to door, making friends with other passengers who presented him with all sorts of little things: a rubber bottle stopper, a nail, a piece of string. Okay, now what Chuck was doing? Chuck was going from one compartment to another compartment, making new friend. Gek looked out of the window and saw a forest cottage. Just a minute. Now Gek looked out of the window and he saw a forest cottage. A little boy in shirt sleeve, wearing enormous boot, carrying a cat, skipped out of porch, swish, and the cat somersaulted into the fluffy snow. Okay, now enormous meaning of enormous is huge. The boy was wearing a short sleeve shirt and enormous boots, carrying a cat, and the cat skipped out of the porch. Porch meaning something, just a minute, here the meaning is given, a covered area at the entrance of a house. So the garden area, we may say. Swiss, it is a example of it is an example of a figure of speech or literary term, that is onomatopoeia, as I have discussed in your train chapter also, where the sound made and the spelling of the word is similar. And the cat somersaulted into the fluffy snow, and the cat started to turn over completely with their feet over their head. Now let us move to the next page. Sorry. It scrambled clumsily into the surface and ran away. So the cat fell into the that surface and he ran away. Now, why had the boy thrown the cat out like that? Probably it had snatched a tidbit of the table. Now, Gek is imagining why the boy would have thrown the cat like that. What is the meaning of the word tidbit? Tidbit means the pieces of food, leftover food. But now the cottage, the little boy and the cat were gone because the train is moving. Instead, there was a factory in a field. Okay, so now there is a factory in a field. The field was white. White because it was snowing. The smokestacks were red. The smoke was black and the lights in the window yellow. What did they make in the factory? Now all of these things are thought by Gek. Okay, suppose you are asked to describe the factory, you have to give all of these details. Okay, but wait. Here was a sentry box, and standing by it, the sentry wrapped in a coat. The coat made him look like so huge that his gun seemed like a thin straw. And here came a forest. The trees in front twirled quickly, while the ones farther back rocked slowly, as if a snowy river was carrying them along. Gek called Chuck, who had just returned to the compartment. Now Chuck has returned to the compartment with lots of presents. They began to look out of the window together. The train swept past large, brightly lit stations where not less than 100 locomotives puffed and whisked back and forth, and past a tiny little station. Trains filled with ore, coal, huge logs flew fast. So these are the good trains. At one little platform, their train stopped alongside a powerful army train. So there is a army train that is standing alongside their train. Happy red army men stood round it, laughing, stamping their feet and clapping their mittened hands to keep them warm. Mittened hands mean the hands which are covered with gloves. Okay. But one man in the leather coat stood silent near the train. Chuck and Gek thought that is, of course, was the commander. Now, they saw a plenty of things on their way. Only pity was a storm was raging outside and the windows were often covered with snow. At last, one morning, their train rolled into a little station. No sooner had mother set Chuck and Gek on the platform and taken their luggage from the army man than the friend pulled out. So their journey ended here and they reached their destination, and they have seen lots of things throughout their journey. And Gek is absent-minded, scatterbrained, where Chuck loved to make new friends, and the story beautifully describes the things they have seen throughout their journey. Okay, so all of these things are done in our live classes. Go through that, and if you have any problem, you can contact me anytime you want. Okay, with that we finish Chuck and Gek's train journey. Okay students, bye, stay safe, tata.